I know there's some thought out there that, well, let me get your take on this, Jason. Of course, it came out over the weekend that even though there was so much momentum and goodwill initially with this college football playoff expansion that was announced going back to last summer, the plan seemed to be pretty well received across the board. You know, any plan that comes out, there are going to be critics and detractors, but considering people's inclination for the most part to pick at anybody's format or plan, the proposal seemed to gain a lot of public satisfaction and acclaim, but it's fallen apart based on a number of issues that I find very on the surface to be minuscule. And I think it's more of a power play behind the scenes of conferences trying to deter the SEC's dominance in more of a power struggle than an actual concern over the stipulations of the system. But for right now, we will have no expansion to the college football playoff until at least 2026.
It's disappointing, Mark. I mean, I think I wasn't surprised completely to see it happen based on the way some of the meetings were going, and there was pushback from the ACC of all leagues was a little bit interesting as well. And then I knew the possibility was here when some of the seemed like we were close. Um, then seems like we're close, and then all of the um, change within conference alignment happened with obviously Oklahoma and Texas like spearheading that, and then some of the other changes that came across. I know that there was some leaders that were a little bit apprehensive about moving forward with a with a playoff structure, but no, and I agree with you. There's some power play going on the um, on the back end, probably from the SEC, because SEC's come out numerous times that we're fine with four, and we're fine with four because it's benefited them so much. But when you think about it, I don't necessarily completely understand why that's the message from the SEC, that yes, you're fine with four, but at the end of the day, you get 12 in there. As strong as the SEC has been, I mean, you have to think that you're getting almost each and every year, if it was a 12 team model, that you're getting three or four almost every season. Obviously, depending on how the structure of the 12 are selected, but yeah, it's strange. I mean, I think it's still inevitable, right? I mean, but it's still going to take a little bit of time, maybe for some of that realignment to settle, and if there's some not existing, but some additional realignment that occurs on top of this in the near future. But maybe the SEC wanted to get a little bit of a better feel on what the new structure within their conference would look like with Oklahoma and Texas, just in terms of what does that conference championship look like? What does the and maybe the hesitancy, as we talked about a couple of weeks ago, Mark, some of the things that I had heard of potentially having a almost like a semifinal and a final, SEC championship. Maybe that's more beneficial from a money perspective. Maybe that's, and they don't want these teams to have to play, 16, 17 games in a season. But yeah, no, it's at the end of the day, really, for me, disappointing. I think, just the opportunity to have more teams in is a value add for the sport, a value add for the playoffs in itself. I'm not saying that our Final Four is not going to be as, because the point spreads have continued to be pretty lopsided, but at the end of the day, you're going to have much better games in those those quarterfinal games, as are even the first round games than we've seen. And you put teams that are really hot towards the end of the season and giving them a chance where they've lost a couple of games. I mean, Utah is a prime example. Yeah, I know that they lost to Ohio State, but still, they were a very hot team towards the end of the year, and what's to say that they won't continue to catch fire and make some noise in that playoff? So yeah, unfortunately, it's something that we're going to have to wait a few years for now.